Consuelo, who I believe was French, cast me in a play she put on in the ROTC shooting gallery at Carnegie Mellon as the pantomime in sign language describing an accident, a car accident. They were using me for drama, but it was a Trump Truman show. Yoko Ono had caseworkers monitoring me from before I was pubescent, even. And they targeted me for being a little boy from the Bush's fleet. He donated me. So I don't really, the goal of people like Putin and Galloway and weaponized news is to say that after you've been tortured as a child and used horribly and molested, you should never be confused or you will be blackmailed. It's the guilt of being brutalized that they prey on. The feelings of guilt. A child feels guilt when they're brutalized and used for sex by the Pittsburgh mob. Now, I wrote an article in the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, hid away from their archives, that convinced Wesley Pawsar to go to South Africa and divest. And the NAACP said I was interfering by following up on divestment from apartheid. What I was interfering with has come to light. It was Yoko Ono's plan to use me in the genocide that the NAACP wanted to build momentum for Kamala Harris and the destruction of Gaza, about which was documented on Mount Desert Island in the 80s, the Society for Human Ecology. So what Nosferatu is doing is trying to exploit the mayhem of Donald Trump and Jay Epstein's Alice's Restaurant to get us behind the quorum of cosmonauts overlooking the supernova. Israel, Egypt, UAE, Iran all agreed to the supernova massacre as a pretext for class warfare against the Arabian poor in Gaza. Nothing could be more obvious. What are you going to do with all these children, say the British? We've got them in trucks, but we're running out of pedo clients. My father was murdered by this absurd Seattle syndicate. And he was a school bus driver. That's what you do. You build public schools and you teach why there's resource limitations. And so people should mind the forces of creations that are built into their bodies so that they live long in an equitable society, practicing sustainable development. Well, you're not going to hear any of that from Noam Chomsky. He was a wizard of hot wiring minds. He was a linguistic soundtrack maneuver working with Gail Burstyn and Yoko Ono. And of course, the whole thing is covered by the song and dance about John Lennon, which has, if you look at what they gave me to read, that was then, this is now, and yesterday and today, which has two versions. You'll see that Gail Burstyn wrote the I Am the Walrus letters, supposedly about John Lennon's murder. I mean, she's on a 12-foot mural in Seattle Center playing violin. It's about Midori Goto. She wrote those letters with and for Paul McCartney. That's what Lennon was talking about when he said, having read the book. He was talking about the Texas school book that they were privy to, and he pulled off his Houdini, which was planned. I found the records that it was planned by the people Robert Fripp was involved with back in 1919. It's a Secret Service operation. So naturally enough, the black man comes wheeling and hollering, I, I, I don't owe it to anybody to be poisoned, and they have poisoned me. They poisoned me for Nosferatu in the Tulalip, casino of alchemy that Peter Gabriel is pulling, with the Joseph Goebbels, Yusu Endur. But I do owe it to the good people with the hub to make myself accountable for the things that I have brought to light. The evidence is right here, Your Honor. You can see the three mirror systems, the fact that Lenin pulled a Houdini, the fact that weaponized news and um, the extended tentacles of their escapades are from the Venus flytrap operation that hid the evidence of something dirty, someplace dirty. It used this C and the Star of David and Neva pornography, and Neva was Dee Dee's sister, and Hesher, an alternative or boiler room or alternative current radio or glass furnace radio, whatever it was, one of these power units, said, "That's my name, don't wear it out," which is what Dee Dee Mancini said. So they have this fully developed, unusually experienced 12-year-old, and they hammer me into a coffin with her and say the only way out is to give her what she desires as a traumatized, deaf, neurologically hypnotized 13-year-old. And then Chomsky says, let's do the playback extrusion for Epstein and Trump. So they get their soundtrack, and all the NAACP go run into the jumping hole or run into the jumper hole. He had it coming. He was just in the provincial norms of Pittsburgh. And Reagan didn't know, for God's sakes. They just completely ignore the evidence that it was all done with the people who invented the burning cross or the KKK. And now the black man has the burning cross. Well, Dogan, what about that for a role reversal? Hardy har har.